Hey everyone, welcome back to another Mattel Jurassic World Hammond Collection review. Today we're taking a look at the first figure in this new wave of figures, the Mussaurus. I ended up pre-ordering this figure from Target's website. I think these smaller figures now retail for $16.99, and I'll leave a link down below in the description if you want to pick up one of these figures for yourself. And let's just take a quick look at the packaging with the Jurassic World logo on the top of the box, window display with the Mussaurus with some nice rendered art. What is new for this True Effects series is we're actually getting swappable parts for the figures. That's something we really haven't seen other than, with the Dilophosaurus. On the side of the box, the Mussaurus has increased poseability, multiple points of articulation, and dynamic accessories for epic scene creations. No blurb about, how this thing appeared in the franchise, which it did, but we'll get to that a little bit later. On the bottom of the box, we have the other three smaller figures available in this wave on the Ornitholestes, which I do have, and Dinosaur, which I have not tracked down yet. Dinosaur is the figure I'm most excited for from this latest round of Hammond collection. Longtime fans of the channel and those of you that follow me on Instagram know I'm always complaining that there are no Dinosaur figures out there, so I'm very, very excited when I get my hands on that figure. So enough about the packaging. Let's crack this thing open and take a closer look. And here is the Mussaurus the packaging. I have to say, I am really impressed with this little Hammond collection figure. Lots of articulation and posability in such a small package. The bright blue striping all over the body really makes this pop. It contrasts nicely with that dark gray main body color. And yes, this dinosaur actually has a canon appearance in the novel. In the Lost World novel, it was the first dinosaur Richard Levine found when he landed on Isla Sorna. Back when the novel came out, we only knew Mussaurus from baby specimens. They were so small they could fit in the palm of your hand, so the way it appeared in the book, the adult was very, very small. We now know that these actually were quite sizable animals. It's a type of sauropodomorph. Those belong to species like Plateosaurus and Massospondylus. They were basically the precursors to the sauropods that we know and love today. And yeah, really, really great figure. I am super, super impressed with this. And the coolest part is the inclusion of those extra hands. We have a pair of closed hands for this figure, and you can actually get it posed in a bipedal stance, which is scientifically accurate. So I love the little options that come with this figure. It's just a standout for me in the Hammond collection line. And for measurements, to measure this figure along the curve of the neck, it is 9 inches long, around 22.8 centimeters, and about 4 inches tall to the top of the head, or 10.1 centimeters. So Mussaurus, like I said earlier, we initially knew it from baby specimens. We never knew the actual size, but we found some adult specimens, I think, around 2013. So the adults of this species were around 26 feet long, or 8 meters. So with those measurements, I put this figure somewhere in the 135 scale range. But it will also work as a subadult Mussaurus, which we also have specimens from. Now let's take a closer look at some of the finer details of this Mussaurus, starting with the head. Not the most scientifically accurate head, especially with that hooked snout, but the general body proportions do make it look like a sauropodomorph. The teeth are very sharp looking, but Plateosaurus, Mussaurus, Massospondylus, they did have chisel-like teeth. Yes, they're a little bit oversized in this, so I will forgive that they look a little carnivore-like. They weren't, the peg-like teeth that we know on, their larger relatives like Apatosaurus. And Diplodocus, you do have a little bit of red painted on the tongue. Love the piercing orange eyes with the black pupil. That is really, really nice touch. On the underside of the neck, palms, legs, and underbelly have this nice brown coat that contrasts nicely with the dark gray for the body. And you have all this really nice dark blue and bright blues and teals for the striping along the body. Really nice contrast and look. Really makes this figure pop. Going down to the forearms, they are cast in dark gray, and they transition to this nice light brown color. And I just love the options for the closed and open hands. This really makes displaying these figures much more interesting. And you can see the claws are painted in black. Going down to the body, you got more of that nice bright blue striping. Looks really, really cool. You have some large osteoderms on the body and on the hind legs. Hind legs start out a little bit gray and transition to that light brown color. You have 4 toes. painted in that dark brown coloration, and then going to the tail, you have more of that striping, almost all the way to the tip. You know, Mattel usually hates painting most of the tails on their figures, so it's nice to see it continuing, you know, pretty much, you know, 90% down the tail. So all in all, a very nicely done painted figure. Really, really enjoying the paint apps on it. Moving on with articulation, mouth can open up that wide and close completely flush. You have a joint behind the head, can look up, it can look down, and you get some nice side-to-side movement on that joint. For the neck, you get some nice downward movement. You can stretch the head out, and you get a nice rotation at that joint. Not too much side to side. I wish this was like a dedicated ball joint instead of a hinge joint, just to get some better side to side movement on that neck, but who knows, maybe we'll see that a little bit later on in the Hammond collection. For the forearms, arms are on a hinge. They can swing out pretty far. They can move forwards and backwards. You have to swing the hinge out a little bit because the arm will bump into the chest area. And then for the elbows, you get a nice 90-degree bend, can stick out completely straight. You have a nice hinge joint on the hands, and they can rotate in place. Going to the legs, you get some nice backwards and forwards movements. You also get a nice hip pivot, which helps with poseability. Legs can stick out that straight, and they can have a pretty deep bend. Absolutely love that. At the ankles, nice generous bend at the ankles and rotation at them. And then going down to the tail is rubber, has that bendy wire, and it can rotate, go up and down, side to side, and bend that wire gives you more poseability. So yeah, all in all, the articulation on this figure, you know, for a $17 figure is really good. Absolutely love it, and the interchangeable hands are an absolute bonus for me. Moving on with comparisons, here it is with the Hammond collection, Robert Muldoon. Next up is the old Dino Rivals Mussaurus. This was the first Mussaurus that we got in the Jurassic line. Huge fan of this figure, but you can see compared to the new one, the old one just looked like a baby sauropod, and the Hammond collection one is, you know, more scientifically accurate than the old Dino Rivals one, but that figure will always have a soft spot in my heart. Every time I do these Hammond collection comparisons, I like to remind everybody that there is another articulated dinosaur toy line out there from Creative Beast Studios. Their Beast of the Mesozoic / Cyberzoic line. They are 1/18 scale, so they are pretty much compatible with the Mattel Hammond collection. In the back over here, we have the Allosaurus fragilis, the Cyberzoic Dilophosaurus, and Deinonychus. Next up are a couple non-movie appearance dinosaurs. We have the Troodon, which was from the Telltale Jurassic Park the game, and Metriacanthosaurus, which only appeared in name in the first Jurassic Park when Nedry was stealing the DNA samples. So yeah, this line is great. I'm glad Mattel is doing non-movie dinosaurs. If they didn't, the line would be very limited and pretty much over by now. So yes, variety in this line is a great thing. And lastly, here's a group shot with a variety of Hammond collection figures. In the back over here, we have the Battle of Big Rock Allosaurus, the Lost World Stegosaurus, Pachycephalosaurus, and Velociraptor. And one thing I just noticed with this Mussaurus, it seems like Mattel is getting away from the glass eye. This Mussaurus has a painted on eye, which I love. You know, I was never a huge fan of the glass eyes. Yes, they got marginally better as the line went on, but still, from certain angles, makes the figure look completely dead, and this, you know, painted eye just looks more lifelike and just makes the figure pop. You just, you know, I do a lot of photography for my figures, and it's tough to get that glass eye to look good in photography. I got the Sinoceratops. I think it's coming in later today. I'll see if that one has a glass eye, but I got the Ornitholestes, and that one doesn't. So seems like Mattel is kind of backtracking a little bit with this glass eye thing. So final thoughts on the Hammond collection, Mussaurus. Absolutely love this figure. The articulation is absolutely fantastic on it. It has excellent paint apps. That dark gray and bright blue just looks absolutely beautiful together. And the inclusion of alternate hands just for different, you know, posability options and display options is a great step forward for this line. I'm really excited to see what other parts they can include with their dinosaurs. There's some other figures in this wave that have, like, interchangeable jaws. Have some mixed feelings on that. We'll get into that when I actually review those figures. But yeah, all around, great figure. Tons of fun to play around with. I am actually going to pick up multiples of these because I like it so much. Like I said, beginning the review, I get this figure from Target's website. Retails for $16.99. Link is down below in the description. I got the Ornitholestes, and the Sinoceratops is being delivered today, so be on the lookout for those reviews. Still on the hunt for the Dryosaurus, which is my most anticipated figure from this whole wave for personal reasons. So whenever I track that down, I'll be definitely reviewing that. So as always, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, show your support by hitting that subscription button just below the video. Each subscription helps out the channel tremendously and is greatly appreciated. I'll see you guys for the next one.